Okay, hey. Version of this thing is really spoiled. My name is Jinx, and if you can't hear it, I am listening to some really depressing music right now. I don't know why. Well, anyway, I'm going to read you the story that I wrote. If it will focus, it's called Colorless, and it took me about 2 hours to write. So, okay, let's do it. My cat, go away. My cat's gonna read it for us, apparently. If I can hear, which I can't. Let me change the song. Okay. The name's colorless. There once was a girl, her name. That's not what the story is about. The story is about how she had done something that she felt was the greatest thing she could ever have done, but at the same time the most tragic ending she could think of. It's not a happy story, but it's also not a heartbreaking. It's a natural kind of feeling one that one can only have after seeing things through this doll's eyes and hearing her thoughts. Now you see, this doll was only 16. She had just moved to a new school and had no friends. Well, it wasn't like she had friends before, but this time it would be different. Or at least she hoped it would. When she got to the new school, she hoped to make new friends. You see, the thing about this doll, though, was that she wasn't normal. She didn't know why, but people would avoid her. First she tried... Crap, can't lean back. First she tried sitting near some people in her class, but they all moved as far away from her as they could, leaving the girl alone. Next she tried sitting near people at lunch, but the same thing happened. They all moved away as if she had some contagious disease. She kept trying for a week until she just stopped. In class, she would sit in an isolated corner of the classroom all by herself. At lunch, she would sit at an empty table eating silently. And at home, even though her parents tried to help, she would run straight up to her room and lock the door, sitting on her bed and crying. This went on for a couple of months, but then a week before her 17th birthday, her parents called her out of her room saying they had a special surprise for her. She hesitantly walked out of the room and into the living room. Looking around until her eyes fell on a small puppy. The puppy was a mutt with black fur, brown paws, a brown spot over its left eye, brown ear tips, and a brown tail tip. She carefully examined the puppy, walking over to it and kneeling down so she was at the small dog's height. She was scared that he would run away, but he didn't. Instead, the puppy walked forward and licked her face, its tail wagging happily. After that, her life brightened up and she became happier. She would smile more and she would come home only to run back outside with her new friend. The two had formed a somewhat unbreakable bond within that week. She even got her friend a bright red collar with a blue dog bone on it. Well, on her 17th birthday, she was playing fetch with the small dog when the ball fell on the road. The puppy, who she had named Patches due to the brown spots, ran after it. Her eyes widened as she saw a car, and she ran forward, quickly grabbing Patches and tossing him on the grass. She was about to move out of the way, but in the second she was about to run, the car hit her. Due to her light weight and small size, it had caused every bone in her body to break and internal bleeding. crap, I lost my spot. Come on. Her parents had been away at work that day, and the driver quickly called an ambulance, telling her it'd all be okay. She asked them to please take the puppy inside and tell the medics that when they call her parents to tell them to bring Patches too. Then she fell into blackness as she lost consciousness. The ambulance arrived and rushed her to the hospital. Then the medics called the parents and told them what happened. They also told them that the girl wanted them to bring Patches. When they got there, though, the girl's heart had stopped beating and her body had gone cold. Her parents broke down crying, but the dog seemed to not believe them. As he jumped out of the girl's mom's arms and ran to the room where he smelled his friend, he jumped on the bed and started nudging her as if he were begging her to wake up, so that he could prove the doctors had lied. She didn't, though, and Patches knew something was wrong, but he didn't know what. The girl's parents took the puppy home, and as soon as they put them inside, he ran into the girl's room and curled up onto her pillow. He wouldn't come out of the room except to go outside or wait by the door, thinking the girl would come home. When the dog heard the door open, as the parents came home from work, his tail wagged and his ears puffed out. But when he saw she wasn't there, his tail would drop and his ears would lay flat. Then he would run back to her room again. Her parents had put his food and water back there because he wouldn't come out to eat. He would often howl at night after having a nightmare the day his friend died. And this went on for a year before they were forced to get rid of him. They had given him to a policewoman so he could help check luggage in airports because he had a good sense of smell. They tried to take the collar that the girl had given off, but he snapped at them, so they just left it there. One of the saddest things, though, is that the girl was there through it all. She saw her parents and her best friend suffer through the pain of losing someone important. She tried to help, but she couldn't. She would follow the dog around, trying to get him to see her, but he couldn't. One day, though, while he searched through bags, he found something in the ground. Right before his new owner was about to arrest the man, he had pointed a gun at her. The dog's eyes widened slightly. It didn't want to see the owner leave again, and right before the trigger was pulled, the dog went forward and knocked the policewoman out of the way. One of the other dogs had bit the man's leg, making him miss aim, and he hit Patches right next to his heart, causing the year-old dog to yelp and fall on its side. The ghost doll's eyes widened as she ran to her friend's side, crying and kneeling down, wanting to help. The dog looked up and saw her. He knew he was dying, but his tail started to wag weakly, and he let out a weak but happy bark as he nuzzled the crying girl's head, trying to make her smile. The police who hadn't gone after the man watched out with wide eyes as the dog nuzzled something that wasn't there. The girl whispered 3 words as she hugged the dog. Those 3 words were, "Please don't go." But as she whispered the word "go," the life left the dog's eyes and he fell limp, dying in the crying girl's arms. The ghost girl let out a loud wail of sadness as she hugged her only friend, tears streaming down her face as she buried it into Patches' fur, remembering when she got him and when she got him the collar and when they played together, wishing that she could have her only friend back again. She started to cry more as she slowly and carefully took off the collar and hugged it tightly, wishing she could have her only friend back again. But wishes never come true, you know. The police's eyes widened more as the collar vanished. The girl kissed Patches' forehead before standing up and walking away, still crying. Many people say that if you listen close enough at night, you can still hear the girl crying to a friend. That girl's name was Colorless, or Color for short. And she did maybe one of the bravest things anyone could do when she ran forward to save a friend. Also, the moral of the story is that bonds don't only last until death. They last beyond that. A strong enough bond between any two creatures can last for eternity. Well, that's my story, Colorless. It's true. A bond between any two people or creatures can last for life. Like me and Lazarus. I have had him since he was a little kid, and we have one of the strongest bonds in the world. Well, anyway, you went out for listening, and, well, hope you enjoyed my little story. Probably sucks, you know. I have, like, no self-confidence. So, yeah. As I said before, it's not a happy story, and it wasn't a complete heartbreaker. It might touch your heart a little, but I never write happy stories. They always have to be sad. Well, you suck. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the story, just comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Bye. Jigs out.